Okay, Karen,
Yep.
you're all set? Okay, Michelle?
Yes.
All right, Clarissa?
Yep.
Robin, do you have audio?
Sure. Do you hear
All right.
me?
I can hear you now. Great.
Okay, all right, good.
All right, so we're just looking for Fred. So I guess keep an eye on what I call the door, Mary. And we'll get going here. So everybody, welcome to the Town of Webster Conservation Commission meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order as of 5:35 on this wonderful Monday evening, August 2nd. I'm going to read as we continue to navigate the new world of meeting, an excerpt here. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 18, and Governor's June 16th, 2021 Act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of the emergency, this meeting of the Webster Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. The board will record the meeting for the purposes of note-taking. Anyone else that wishes to record this meeting for personal use must notify the chairman in advance. So please notify me. I'm Joey Wigglesworth. I am the chairman. And you can also let Mary know as well, as she is our agent. And all right, so we're ready to go here. So meeting minutes for approval, July 19th, 2021. We have no meeting minutes. Mary getting caught up from her wonderful vacation out west. So we will pick up on the meeting minutes for July 19th at the next meeting. Requests for determinations of applicability known as RDAs. First up is 5 Kenaway Lane. Janus, I'm just going to say Janus K. I cannot pronounce your last name. I'm very sorry.
Fine. John K. Works.
K-Works, all right, John K-Works. This is construction of a new deck, and I am going to call on Dan, the clerk of our commission, to read an excerpt here to inform the public.
Joy, I need to read the intro to that first.
Okay.
In accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, the Wetlands Protection Act, this public meeting is being held on a determination of applicability for the installation of a new deck at 5 Kenaway Lane in Webster, and to see if it is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act and local wetland bylaw.
Great. All right. Thank you, Dan. And so we've got John K with us here from Kenaway Lane. For commissioners that may not have familiarity where this is, I believe this is off of Appleby Ave, correct?
Yes.
Yep. So just off of Upper School Street. So,
Yes.
so John, why don't you take us through what you're looking to do here, and we'll discuss it and move on.
So me, want me to tell you? So on the back of my house,
Yep.
I'm trying to frame a new deck.
Okay.
Measurements were provided, 12 by 22, I believe I put in, and also put a staircase with a 3x3 landing towards the back right-hand corner. That's pretty much it. Would you like me to explain how I'm going to frame everything like that too? Or
well, let me just ask this. What kind of decking are you going to be using? Are you using Trex? Are you using pressure treated?
At the moment right now, pressure treated, I'm going to be using pressure treated, but if I could get a good deal on them for Trex decking, I'm still shopping around.
Okay.
Yes, but right now, as of right now, it's just going to be pressure treated 1x5.
Okay, and then I think I saw 3 sonotubes there. Is that correct?
3 sauna tubes are going to be for the beam because it's going to be a cantilever beam. And then I'm going to also dig 2 more sauna tubes for the landing.
Okay. And how are you attaching these guys to it? Are you using the new technology?
Yes, I have all the corrected hardware. I don't know off the top of my head though. I have the Simpson book. I work construction for Colt Builders, so I have a lot of these. I have a lot of this mechanical hardware that connects the post to beam. Post to beam, and then concrete to beam, and yes, everything else.
Okay.
All galvanized.
And are these going to be hand dug?
Yes, I am. I have a post hole digger, iron bar, and a long shovel too.
Okay. So, are you going to end up doing any kind of staining on this, spraying it with anything?
No. Keeping it as is. Possibly, I'm gonna the 6x6 posts and the framing around the deck. I'm probably just gonna wrap it with like an AZAC, which is like a plastic, but that's much later down the line. So no staining.
All right. Mary can get you a copy of our general best management practices, but seeing how you work in the industry, given the fact that you had to file with us, you are under, the jurisdictional area, I would definitely recommend that you use a vacuum saw and clean up any material as soon as possible, because I think your property is pretty much surrounded by wetland on that far end, aren't you?
Only my front yard. Only my front yard is. My backyard really isn't.
Okay.
And then from the front of my house to the wetland is an easy maybe 65, 70 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, his deck is just, I measure, it's probably like just at 96 feet from the wetland. So this was kind of a precautionary filing. Here's the back of the house. You're looking at the wetland. The house is in between the deck and the wetland, so I don't think he needs any erosion controls.
No, I wouldn't think so. Commissioners, any questions aside from the basics that I asked?
Good.
Pretty simple, straightforward project. If there's no discussion or comments, John, do you have anything else for the board?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners are ready for determination on this.
I vote for a negative, I motion for a negative determination on 5 Kenway Lane for the construction of a new deck.
I'll
Okay.
second. Is that Clarissa seconding?
Yeah.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes,
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Duteau.
Yes.
Do we have Mr. Bach?
Mr. Bach is here.
do, but I am going to abstain since I wasn't here.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right, so John K, Mr. K, you are all set. Any
Thank you.
issues or questions, please contact our office and we appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very
All right.
much. Thank you everybody for the time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, I see a 617 number here. Is that one of our commissioners calling in? Any 617-272-6817?
No, that's Tracy Martin, resident of Loveland Road.
Okay, all right,
Thank you.
no problem. All right, so moving on to public hearings, notices of intent. We have a few that are continued from last week due to backup in DEP numbers from the Central District Office. First up is 124 Gore Road, Richard and Erica Weil. This was demolition and construction of a single-family home. Continued from July 19th. Have we gotten the a DEP number yet, folks?
Yes, there's a DEP number. And yes, that's all we were waiting for this one,
Yes.
was the DEP number. Yep, and the DEP number was no comment, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. No comments, thankfully.
Okay. All right, so because this is a public hearing, I'm going to open this up as I couldn't last time because we can close the hearing. Any abutters for 124 Gore Road with comments? Last call for comments on 124 Gore Road from the public. Commissioners, can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Larissa and Fred.
Right. Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes,
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Bach.
Yes,
Motion to issue the order of conditions. Mary, do you have that full number? Probably a 323 number?
Not right in front of me.
Fine, I usually am I keep my.
Actually, let's see. No, we do have it. 3231213.
213. All right, so motion to issue order of conditions for 124 Gore Road DEP number 3231213. And I think that was Fred with the first, was it?
I'll make that motion.
All right, so we got Michelle with the first, silence from Fred. Anyone, second, please?
I'll second.
Okay,
Was that Clarissa seconding?
yes.
Okay. Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
yes,
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Bach.
Fred, are you there?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we didn't hear anything.
I did say yes.
Okay, all right. Could be me. Did everyone else hear Fred?
No, I didn't hear it.
Okay, all right. All right, so Erica, and if Richard's with you, your project has now moved to the order of conditions. Mary will get those to you as soon as possible. Obviously, before you start any kind of breaking ground, you're gonna meet with Mary to set up the erosion controls, so, and make sure that they are okay. Any questions, please be in touch with Mary, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Good luck to the both of you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, you take care.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Bye-bye. All right, so next up, this was a continuance from June 22nd, 23 Bates Point Road. Mr. Doug LaBelle, Mr. Mike McDonald. Do we have a representative for 23 Bates Point Road?
Hi, this is Leslie Wilson from HS&D Group,
Hi, Leslie, how are you?
representing Doug.
Okay,
I believe Doug may be joining in on us.
okay.
But we can continue if he doesn't join in.
Mary, have you had any communication with Doug? Did he want to be on this one?
I thought he was going to be. I don't know why he's
Yeah,
not. Because he said he was going to be.
All right, Leslie, do you want to hold off and we'll wait and see if Doug comes? Or are you?
No, let's go ahead. and
Okay, all right, why don't you
proceed.
take us through? Obviously, we're building a new house. We're on what looks
Yep.
like to be kind of a tight lot here, so
Yep.
let's
Yep.
get to it. We've been continuing it quite a bit.
We had met previously, and there were a few things that were asked to be changed. We put in the approximate dock location. And we also changed the hay bale silt fence around the site. We also put straw wattles around the stockpile area. And we moved the porta potty out of the 100-foot area. So I believe those were the comments from the last meeting.
Okay, do I see the spill kit somewhere on here?
There should be a spill kit.
It's on one of the other pages of the plan.
The spill kit, yep, it should be on page 2 of 3.
Okay,
There's a spill kit down in the lower right corner.
all right, so closer to the water. I see the Coltech.
Yep.
482. Houses
And
out
I
of,
did double check. That was one of the questions. Was it with the NOAA, and it is. So
okay, yeah, that was a question that I had, was the how the calculations were done for stormwater.
yeah.
Now-
So it is the new the
Atlas 14.
numbers. Yep.
Okay, so proposed stockpiles in the front, which wasn't there before, it's there now, folks. What about, are you going anywhere near that stormwater runoff drain that's sort of up near the construction entrance?
We are not touching that at all. We're
Okay.
leaving that exactly the way it is.
Okay, and do we know how that drain
It-
crosses the property so that when you're
There
putting in the
seems to be a like a drain inlet that goes kind of across our driveway
Yeah,
into a catch basin,
mhm.
and then that goes down into the lake, and that was there before. We did not change that, and we did not plan to change that.
Okay, so my going back to what my original question was gonna be. When we're putting in this garage, there's gonna be some earth moving. How do we know that we're not gonna break that? And if we break the pipe, what's the plan?
Hopefully we do not break the pipe. If we do, we will replace it in place.
Okay,
Same
Mary,
pipe.
can we just have that in the notes and probably a condition? Because given the type of inlet that is, and more than likely is a, not a cast iron, but it's probably a clay pipe, and construction machinery driving over that could crack it and break it very easily.
Yeah, that's no problem. If it breaks, we will replace it in place. No problem.
All right, so we got the
You guys-
house.
Those straw wattles, you didn't move them very far back. Are we gonna have our 30% of the lot undisturbed anywhere?
On the first page of the plans, At
Noted.
the bottom left-hand corner are calculations. So we're under the 30%.
For what? For the impervious area?
Yes.
Okay, I'm talking about the Lake Watershed Protection District where 30% of the lot has to be maintained as undisturbed, not cut. And we were hoping that would happen, on the lake side.
Yeah, mainly between the shore, especially the shoreline, and where what I'm looking at is the minimum setback. From there forward, nothing should definitely be touched. This is a fairly flat lot, but that should be indicated on here as well.
Okay.
That
Were you not aware that there's a lake protection district with 30%?
I was not. I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
It's okay.
Mr. Chairman, is that minimum setback the 10-foot line?
Yeah, that's a zoning setback. It doesn't have anything to do with us. So I mean, I'm thinking on this lot, it might be hard to get 30% of the lot. So we'd like to see how it doesn't have to be next to the lake, but with the amount of development on here, it's going to be hard to maintain 30% natural vegetation.
So you want 30% natural? Is that what you're asking for?
Yes, that has to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whether it's in the far, what I'm looking at here would be the sort of southeast corner of the property.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to do it right now, but
he did put in the 25-foot lake buffer there, which we appreciate. Maybe, I mean, this is just a technicality that we need to work out with Doug during the
yeah, I mean, it's only like a 5-foot difference, so I'm sure he would be more than willing to make sure that it looks like it would be an extra 5 foot, and I'm sure he'd be willing to do that without a problem.
So before any kind of development starts on this property, Mary, that's probably something we should hammer or talk to Doug about. Doug works on the lake, lives on the lake. He's very well aware of this, but we will need a set of plans, Leslie, that do show that
No
calculation.
No
so
problem.
that we've got the closest to what this is going to look like.
Yes.
Hey, Leslie, are you saying that he's going to move the house back 5 feet? I'm confused.
I'm sure if he needs to move the house 5 feet back, he will. He works in the town a lot.
Right.
He knows the laws. If he knows it needs to be moved back 5 feet, we'll move it back 5 feet. That won't be an issue.
All right, so that can be a condition, Mary, that 30% natural coverage of undisturbed natural landscape to be kept preferably, behind, I guess, what's going to be the garage and down along the shoreline, which I think I remember talking to Doug, and Doug said that we're not doing anything near the shoreline. But it really should come a little bit back from there as well. Because, obviously bank is looked at as something a little bit different.
That puts their erosion controls in the wrong place.
Yeah, so the erosion controls need to be, they need to be moved as close to the house as possible to allow for this.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying just beyond that 182 mark, which happens to be the minimums.
Okay. So just within the 482. So move it within that.
It should be tucked as close as possible to that Cultec chamber, and then just honestly, just almost move just straight straight back, but obviously he needs to get machinery in there, and I would think that the first thing he's gonna
Right.
do is put the Cultec in, and then the foundation, and if he was working backwards away from the lake, but he's got his own process. but We need,
Yeah, and that's no problem. We can move that back.
just need these maps updated to show that.
We can update the plans for you and give them to you.
Commissioners, any specifics on this one? The chapter 91, Leslie, which if you're the engineer on this, you're gonna have to get the filing for that chapter 91 on that
Yep.
dock.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
You're gonna need to know square footage, the
Yep.
depth, you're gonna need to know how wide, how long, all of
Right.
that. And
Yep.
then
Yep.
the dimensions, 25 feet back from each lot line, it should be.
Please.
Yeah, that's no problem.
If feasible. if
We'll
not,
make
it
sure
should-
we have that, the correct dimensions.
Okay, because once you've got that, you need to come back before us with those set of plans. And before it is submitted to the state, we need to approve it,
Okay,
okay?
no problem, no problem.
And that will be in the conditions too. Mary, I think that should probably be a perpetual condition, on all conditions given. Anyway, commissioners, anything else on this project that we have questions, concerns?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
are there trees remaining on this house lot once the house is in? Because I see all these trees outlined. Are the ones on one side of this house kept? I'm looking at the erosion control plan specifically. But if you're on.
Yeah, I think they have the trees on the first page here.
I'm seeing a pine, a maple, pines. I don't know whether, I'm assuming that the dark circles are the ones that may end up going, Michelle, to put the development in, and then there are 2 oaks from what I remember in the front yard. He may be trying to keep those.
Right, but if you look at the erosion control one, there might be other. It's just a little confusing. I was just looking at the
He's gonna
erosion
try to
control
keep
one.
those oak trees.
Okay.
He's
That can count as-
gonna try to keep those oak. Obviously, the pine trees that are within the building and the garage will have to go. But he'll try to keep the oak trees in place.
Mary, if you can just move over a little bit and see if the little dots here tell us. The other way, yeah. Existing tree. Found. No, it doesn't say, but you could tell that those are gonna go. The black ones are
Yeah,
gonna.
they're in the middle of the building. so
But
that's
that oak that's right at the front steps, I don't know how that would
That would have
remain
to
with-
go too.
without damage. Without
Yeah,
damage.
the pine trees will definitely have to go.
All right, so, and then, I just wanna make a note that that gravel, the gravel that should be used for the track mat there for construction equipment,
Yep,
that really should be anywhere from 4 to 8 inches so that it's nice and big and it gets in between those tires. Because we're seeing a lot of projects, people are using 3/4 inch stone and it's just sticking in the tires and it's causing a lot of erosion. Well, it's carrying a lot of contaminants off the property.
okay, so what type of inch did
It
you
should
say?
be
I'm sorry,
like say 4 to 8, anywhere between 4 and 8, just
4 to
something.
8 inch, okay.
Yep.
No,
Something-
that's not
This
a
is all-
problem.
This is all gonna be within the order of conditions, but if you wanna
Yep.
make notes on the plan.
No,
that's-
I
that's
just want to
good.
be able to make notes on the plan.
Yep. Anything else, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I just wanted to comment on the site layout and grading plan.
okay,
The 482 proposed contour looks like it goes right to the minimum setback line. And if you're looking to have more area that's undisturbed, there's probably no reason why that 482 proposed contour
Yeah.
can't go way back into the lot. You see how it's right at the bottom, right at the
Yep.
minimum setback?
yeah,
And the existing 482 goes through like the bottom part of the building. So that
So
means
right.
all that is disturbed. And
That's graded, yeah.
so, I mean, pulling that 482 back doesn't look like it would be a problem at all. And then that lessens the slope at the water line.
yes,
Yeah, the only problem with that is that now your house is being built in the floodplain, because if I remember right, 482.2 is floodplain. 41.2 or 82.2.
But it
Uh,
already is 482.
let me look here and see if, how much floodplain we got.
Okay.
This is 23.
Plan already has the house in the floodplain, doesn't it? At 482.
Oh, floodplain's 481.1.
Yep. And let me see here. Yeah, there's just a little bit, it shows just a little bit of flood storage right at the bank. So if that, you are, yeah, I mean, you are right, Karen, if the grading doesn't go that far down, that would definitely save some disturbance. But that corner where that 482, the new one is, that's in a box, that's where his Cultec's gonna go. So we might have, he may need to do something with that. But the other corner, which is behind that garage there, I mean, I don't think that needs to be graded all the way down.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Doug would be willing to, move the grading a little bit to change that.
Okay.
I mean, he, you guys work with him a lot. So I don't see why, past the Cultec, he wouldn't be willing to sweep that up to give that a little bit more area.
Yeah, Doug may not be familiar with that 30% undisturbed vegetation rule because many of his lots are already disturbed to some extent.
Yes.
And I don't think that other lot that he did on Wawila or Laurelwood or wherever it was, I'm not sure where we applied that to that one. We forgot to, so.
Well, I can talk with him about that. We can figure it out.
Yeah. So I think that for me, it's very helpful to have that 30% indicated on the plans and for the builder, because first of all, whether it's even possible, and just to know where it is so we can set up the silt fences appropriately. So ideally, you're not working beyond that area. You're not working in that area at all.
Okay, that's not a problem. I will talk to him and we'll figure it out.
Okay. So commissioners, do we think we're able to permit this, or do we want to have Leslie, you know, make changes, discuss it over with Doug? Or do you
Joey,
want to
can I
just
ask, can I just
permit
ask a
this?
question? Would the chapter 91 be in the order of conditions?
Chapter 91 for the dock, yes, they're not doing anything with the shoreline, so there's no permit for the shoreline.
Okay.
But yes, the order, in the order of conditions, it will be in there that they need to within, I would say within the first 30 days, have that filing in and to us.
Is this house sold already?
No, so I mean, I think the new homeowner would want to have input into the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one's a tricky one. Because if
Okay.
you're required up front and the house hasn't been sold, you're sort of dictating a dock to someone that doesn't even own the house yet.
Well, if you think about it, it's almost the same logistical, we're gonna have to go through the same logistics with the homeowner.
Mhm.
So,
You're right.
you know, I mean, if we can kind of, if they can buy a home and the dock is already permitted, it's on the deed and it's all, you know, it's kind of a done
Done deal. Package.
deal. But
And I made sure that the dock was 25 feet from either setback on the
Okay.
side.
so, all right. I mean, when they come for COC, if the house is sold, then we'll just have to deal with the owners.
Yeah.
But going back to the grading and 30% in the Lake District, I mean, that's something that, I mean, we've worked with Doug on that before. I mean, do we feel that, you know, we need to put this off to another meeting, or can we just permit this and discuss this with him? And if he has issues, he can come back to us?
Mr. Chairman, I'm
I
not,
would prefer to wait to see the final plan.
Okay,
I agree.
all right. All
I
right.
agree.
Okay, so we have 3 people. So Leslie, why don't you get the plans updated? Mary's been taking notes, so if you haven't been, why don't you reach out to Mary on tomorrow or Thursday and just make sure things sync up. We'll put
Yep.
you on the next agenda. And then
Okay.
that way we can just look at everything, make sure everything's good, have a talk about that grade. And if he's got
Yep.
questions, he can contact Mary. And then
Okay.
we can take a vote on this on our next meeting is going to be Monday, August 16th. So do we have your approval for a continuance on this?
Okay, so August 16th, and I will definitely touch with Mary. Make sure we get everything that we all want done,
Yes.
set, and we'll have that all set for that meeting.
All right, sounds good. And the sooner you get those new plans to us, the better. That way
Yep.
the commission can review
Yeah,
everything.
I'll probably have to you this week, so.
Wonderful. All right, so folks, can we get a motion of continuance for 23 Bates Point Road to August 16th, please?
I motion we continue to 23 Bates Point Road till August 16th.
So that sounded like Robin, and then was that Dan?
Second,
Dan with the second.
Ms. Sherillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes,
Mr. Bach.
Yes.
okay, all right. Thank you so much, Leslie, and
All right.
just any questions between you and Doug, just let them.
Nope. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll get that plans to you as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too. All right, so 29 South Point Road. I don't believe we have Eric here, do we? Eric Marcoux? All right, I did speak with him and he is gonna continue this. He's having an engineer look at this, his plans. So, can we get a motion of continuance for 29 South Point Road? This was a replacement of his entire retaining wall.
I'll make a motion for continuance of 29 South Point Road.
All
I
right,
second.
Chairman,
yes.
do we wish to give him a little more time instead of continuing every meeting?
Well, he apparently had a meeting with, his,
Engineer.
with, his developer, not developer, his, engineer. So, today, so he could be on the next one.
Aren't we also waiting for chapter 91 on that one?
Yes, but they need the plans from the engineer in order to issue that, so.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Sherillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Bach.
Yes.
All right, so 49 Arkwright Road and 30 Worcester Road, EBT Environmental. This is Glenn Kowalski. Restoration of historic gradient and flow for the Millbrook. This was continued from June 22nd. I believe Glenn is got a particular request with this. Do we have Glenn on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Glenn. How you doing?
Fine, thank you, Joseph.
Good,
Thank you. The request would be, we're working on the environmental monitor and coming up with ecological restoration as DEP had requested. We filed with the monitor and the regulations require, and we're working on both exotic invasive plant removal, which is part of the requirement. If you can meet it, and we are going to meet that with European or Asiatic milfoil being removed by the work that we're doing, and also some other points of sediment input coming off of Arkwright Road in the back, which we photographed this weekend. So those will be exhibits of the sediment loading that continues, and I brought to the commission's attention all the way back in 16. So we'll document that. And also the two other issues that are affecting the brook is the U.S. Army Corps agreement with original Cranston Print, which Mike O'Brien inherited this deed that allows the outflow of the Webster Lake to be shut off completely as it is right now. And that drains down the brook. So that work does affect the brook much more than my 88 cubic yards coming out to restore the historic gradient. So that'll all be brought out with photo exhibits, which also go to the environmental monitor and DEP to make a case that the sediment loading coming in the Delta Formation at Arkwright Road on the backside has much more impact, and also with the U.S. Army Corps being allowed, that agreement allowing the dam to be shut off completely has much more effect on the brook than my, again, 88 cubic yards. So we're asking for a continuance to finalize this with DEP and the environmental monitor.
All right, so does any commissioners have any questions for Glenn at this time on this wonderful project that he's doing?
Just, Glenn, are you asking to continue it to our next meeting?
I would ask if you could that we continue for 2 meetings. Thank you.
Okay.
So the second meeting coming out, because by that time it should give us enough time to wrap everything up with the monitor and in this documentation going to DEP.
Yeah, that can take some time. I don't have it in front of me. Mary, do you know what that second meeting is? End of August?
August 30th.
30th?
I'm writing it down. Thank you. And
All right.
we'll be here then. Thank you.
All right, so folks, as you heard, Glenn is looking to continue this project at 49 Arkwright Road and 30 Worcester Road. Can we formally get a motion for continuance to August 30th?
Make that motion to continue 49 Arkwright Road and 30 Worcester Road to August 30th.
I second. I
And
second.
okay.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're
Many
very
thanks,
welcome.
Lang, for all you do for the environment.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you again. Always my pleasure.
I'm
till I
aware of a
die.
lot of different things. Do a great job.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you again. I'll see you later on the Kunkel issue. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So,
night.
Mary, go ahead and do your roll
Ms.
call.
Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes,
Mr. Bach.
Yes.
all right.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Glenn. Have a good day. Talk to you later.
You too. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, so next up, we've got 88 Lakeside Ave. This is Judy Kolecki. This is retaining wall work, continued from June 22nd. Do we have Judy here? Judith here? Do we have a representative for 88 Lakeside?
Pardon me, are you saying 68 or 88?
Nope, 88.
Thank you.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be on yet. I did talk to her twice or once today at least. So maybe we'll push her off to later.
Well, yeah, we can hold off to the end and let's start moving through our COCs and discussion items. All right, so first request for certificate of compliance is 54 Laurelwood Road. The COC is for DEP number 3231116. And Mary, I'm sure you've been there. You have some photos.
Yes, I do. And let me see if I can, first I'll pull the plans up for you guys. All right. So this was boy, it doesn't show very well here, but this was the house is here, steep bank going down. And this is just kind of the existing. This is better. And so the bank was completely, oh, Judy Kolecki just popped in, but, or she's just about to pop in.
Okay, we'll finish this one, then we'll go back to
Yeah.
her hearing.
So you see there's like 3 retaining walls, stairs, etc. So those are the plans. And let me get to my.
Now, if I remember right, Mary, are these the 2 homes that went side by side and the builder bought both of them and they were doing the retainer wall all together?
Nope.
Okay, different property. All right.
This is not it. It is apparently the same contractor though that did the walls. So it may look similar.
Okay.
So this is, well, I'll just run through my comments. So the project looks good. I mean, everything's well done, I would say. They, in addition to what was on the plans, they did install a Cultec. Let's see, where's the Cultec? Here's the Cultec. They put it right on top. And this pictures were provided by the homeowner.
Okay.
And so the Cultec is draining 1 gutter at least from the house, and plus the patio, the lawn area, it's right in here.
Oh, okay.
So that's nice. This top patio, it almost has your 3-inch lip, but not quite, but it is drained towards it's sloped towards the Cultec in the drain.
Okay.
Here's a picture kind of the bottom walls. And Cultec stairs. They've got riprap on the slope on both sides. Cultec picture. This is showing now. They do not have the 3-inch here on the bottom level But what the contractor did do, kind of, I met them for a pre-construction meeting and then I didn't really hear from them since. But
Yeah.
the contractor did install this about 10 inches of gravel, it looks like, which goes down like 2 feet as a barrier between the patio and the wall. And that seemed like to me, like a reasonable replacement for your 3-inch reveal, but the board needs to kind of decide how you want to deal with that. And potentially the gravel could be, some of it could be removed, I guess, to get that 3-inch.
I can see a couple of pieces that are starting to kind of move a
Right.
little bit. I would just ask that maybe they just scrape off on both sides, just maybe one bucket full, 1 5-gallon bucket, and maybe use it somewhere else. But what's caught my eye is in the upper right corner. I see a small slope with the same type of rock.
Yes, and that's here, I got a better picture of it. So yeah, this is worse because it's a slope and they didn't dig it back. And I had told him he may need to pull this back for the board.
The other thing, the simplest thing that he can do, it probably will not look the greatest, but one of those lawn edgings there. That's up about, 2, maybe 2 inches above. And then as that stuff starts.
So you're recommending that for the middle level?
Yeah, unless they want to go through the whole taking out, but was it in the order of conditions that 3-inch lip needed to be there?
Yeah, it was. And we talked about it at the hearing, I think.
Okay.
I don't know if putting some kind of plastic piece in there is gonna work for the duration.
Eric, on this level in the picture we're looking at, does that stone, you said on the lower level that the stone goes down a couple of feet. Is that the same case here? Or you do not know?
Actually, is the homeowner on the lineup? I had given him the link, Mr.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
maybe you can answer that question.
Underneath that, it doesn't go quite as deep as the other. No, it does not. There's just soil under the gravel there.
Yeah, if you've got several inches of stone there, I think I would just pull out like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, because that way the stone's not going to continue across the patios. I don't think it has to be the full 3 inches because you do have a area of stone, so you do have some storage.
Well, also look at it this way too. These plants are going to grow. They're going to fill in quite a bit. The roots are going to take hold. And that rock there really has quite a ways to travel. And I'm sure walking in bare feet coming back from the boat or back from the water, you see a couple of white stones on that beautiful patio on the bottom level there. You're probably going to kick it off to the side, or you're going to pick it up and put it back where it belongs. But looking at this, I mean, I think the quickest fix, and I know, Michelle, you had a comment about it, well, plastic barrier might not do the trick, but I mean, there are you can get a metal flashing and put it in there, and just something to kind of hold it back and guard it. And if it's gonna creep, it won't really creep. The water will just sort of hit it. And if something moves, it'll build up a little bit, and then the water will go back into the ground. I do have to say, I applaud the homeowner's efforts and the contractor putting Cultec in there for the upper patio. I have not seen something like that done before. That's great. We appreciate.
We learned our lesson after one storm when we were mid-project, when we had quite a bit of runoff from the downspout.
Yeah, going from a natural environment to an engineered environment, it really changes the dynamic of how your property can really manage water. So But this riprap that you have here, do you see how the wave energy is sort of taking it?
And the ice has taken some of it too.
Yeah, so unfortunately, this in here, I don't know if you're using this for anything, but that should really probably come out of the water.
Okay.
But this should really be brought back up. Try to tuck this in as much as possible. The general rule of thumb is no more than 2 feet out and 2 feet up. And that usually helps about 95% of folks with their issues of wave energy. So, yeah.
Cinder block will probably come out too.
Well, that's what I was saying. This should probably come out if it's not any function that may have been just to hold the, you know.
Maybe with the curtain, yeah, which is,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, actually, I can see the line tied to it. So, so I would tuck this in, and folks, regarding the gravel, that's the only item that we're really kind of all, it seems like we're all a little bit kind of, you know, thinking in different ways. That's my suggestion. I mean, you could take the gravel down a bit there, and do some sort of a nice flashing there, along straight down to catch anything, but I'm more concerned at the next level with any real serious deluge, and you know, that rock traveling. That should be taken down about an inch at least.
That's not a problem.
What did you say, Joey, just to pull this down an inch?
I would pull, yeah, I'd pull it down about an inch. It doesn't look like there's much of a, looking at the photo, it doesn't look like much of a grade, and it's, like Fred said, it's very deep there, so that water is gonna, you know, cascade across that, you know, that patio, and we want to get it into the ground and let it cool before it goes into the lake. That's part of the other process too. Wayne is getting water that falls during a summer day that's hot to cool, and having it go back into the ground is the best way for it to cool. That way it's not heating up the lake.
Yep.
So I would recommend an inch to 2 inches to just kind of scrape off the top here on both sides. Tuck in this your whip wrap so that it only goes out about 2 feet, and sort of maybe kind of just angle it just a little bit up your wall, and then commissioners, what about that other level? Michelle, you didn't seem to like the idea of some flashing there.
No, if you like splashing, go for it. But I think it should be, you know, in both cases, something has to be done to prevent the stone from taking a walk.
Yeah.
Splashing is what the homeowner wants, then that's fine. I think it's easier to, if it was my house, I'd just take out some of the stone. Because everything will get trapped out of flashing, every leaf, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer to drop it down, take out the stone.
Okay. Well, seeing how we have requests here, do you think that you could have these done and then we can look at it again by the 16th? And then give
Definitely.
you your certificate?
Definitely.
Mary, everything else with this look good?
Yeah, let me just look at my comments. I'm just showing there's more pictures. This is along the side. And so there is a little area, this retaining wall wraps around.
Yeah.
And so it's up here. Well, where is it? Up here.
Yeah.
And that maybe needs to have a little bit of the gravel moved behind it too.
Now, the grass goes right up to that one.
Oh, does the
At the
grass,
top.
okay, the grass goes up
Yep.
to that one, and that is on this top area where the cul-de-sac is.
Okay,
Mhm.
And here's the gutter that goes into the cul-de-sac. I think that's mostly it. Let me just look at the top. I had all my comments on the top.
Was the patio made from pervious pavers?
Yes.
Yes, that's another question.
Because that's in the order of conditions.
was this at the time that we started requiring the 91?
No, but I think we should ask them to kindly look into it.
91 is,
Chapter 91, there's two different types of chapter 91, and I'm gonna probably go over this in a little bit. I want to, chapter 91 has your dock, any dock that is in a great pond, which is Webster Lake, must have a license from the state. It's mandated since Webster Lake became a great pond several years ago. That docks need to be licensed. There was some confusion for a very long time that was the harbor master's job. The harbor master has no authority over that. That falls on conservation, because anything that connects you from land to water under chapter 91, anything that's in, on, near, or underwater is chapter 91. So what we've been moving folks towards licensing their docks. And it's you go to the state website, there's a portal. You're gonna need all of your different dimensions as far as the length of the dock, the width of the dock, the square footage of the dock, how deep it is. And what you need to do is you have to file an RDA for that with us. You bring that back to us before you submit it to the state. We look at it, we see where your dock is positioned on your property. And then once the commission has approved your dock, it goes to the state, and then the license lasts anywhere from 15 to 30 years. And the license fee, I believe, is $75. It is actually, it's a law, and if you don't have one, essentially your dock is unlicensed, and if the EP or the environmental police were to take note of it, they would order you to remove your dock immediately. And it is finable. So, in a nutshell, for everyone on board, that's the chapter 91 for licenses for docks. We can help you through that process, Mr. Humphrey, if you'd like. Any questions on that? But you just go to Mass DEP / chapter 91. There's all sorts of information there. That's what makes Webster Lake is much different than any other kind of a lake, where a great pond and a great pond in Massachusetts are looked at as very important waterways.
I mentioned to Mary when she was at the house that the meeting when I first, the notice of intent or whatever that first meeting was, at the start of that meeting was when the state was there talking with you folks.
Oh, that was a while ago. Yes.
Yes, it was 2000 October or November 2018. So,
yes, we had the harbor master, and we also had the state environmental police in talking about chapter 91 with us, and how it is the Conservation Commission's falls under the Wetlands Protection Act, which is us.
And at the time it was kind of, they were trying to figure out how to work with you for, like, what's the right path and who has the authority to, etc. So it was still kind of a fact-finding meeting at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Come a long
So,
way.
I'm sorry?
We've come a long way.
We have, and we've had a lot of people that have graciously been compliant with us, and we thank them for it. So, you know, but I can't express enough that you need to get your dock licensed.
Okay.
So, so with those items, the gravel, pulling your riprap back, you can take your turbidity curtain out now. That block that's in the water. And then there's one other thing I'm missing here. I didn't write down, folks.
The erosion control on the sides as well.
Yeah, Mary, you saw those. Those are okay to come out?
Yep, that's okay to come out.
All right, so why don't you take, you know, why don't you get those things into compliance? And if you could start your 91, let us know, and we can put you on the 16th. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, so then we will, we'll look for you. We don't necessarily need a motion or anything like this because we're just discussing your COC. So, if you come back on August 16th, we'll put you on that agenda, okay?
Okay, and Mary, I just need to connect with you to have you come and check the work that's been done?
Yes, yep.
Okay, so I will get in touch with you when I'm all set. Have you come out.
Wayne, we appreciate it. And any questions, always partner with us, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Beautiful property. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. All right, so going back to public hearings, folks, I believe we have, do we have Judith on the line here?
Hello,
Hi, Judith, how
Hello.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So do we have your contractor on the line as well?
I don't know. I emailed him your number. I sent him all the information Mary gave to me and told him what time the meeting was. I was hoping he's online and I told him to call me.
Okay.
His name is Ivan, in case there's an Ivan somewhere. I don't
Do
know.
we have an Ivan on the line here? Ivan for 88 Lakeside Ave.
Greg, you want to try and call him?
All right, Judy, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna move through one more item and then see if we can get in touch with Ivan, because it's really critical that we talk to him and you. So
Okay.
we're gonna move through one more item and then I'll call you back, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we've got 4 Black Point Road, a request for certificate of compliance, DEP number 3231166.
How do we?
Do we have anyone here for 4 Black Point Road?
There should be someone here. Let's see. Donna, are you here?
I'm not seeing a Donna.
Okay. All right, well, we can move on to the next one.
Okay. 18 Bates Crossing, certificate of compliance, DEP number 3231126. This was a single family house. I believe this is Mr. and Mrs. Spitzeris's property. Am I wrong?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Mr. Spitzeris. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were just
Can you guys hear
freezing
me?
a little bit there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I have the lake background.
Hey,
I have the lake
hey, I
background.
love it. All right, so you're looking for COC on the home that you built,
Yes.
correct? Okay, Mary, do we have photographs? Commissioners that were on the board at the time, if you remember, I fell in a hole at this property with Steve. Mr. Spitz, I let Mr. Spitzeris keep the property rather than owning it because his daughter Nikki and I went to high school together, so I know Nikki very well. So
Yeah,
I
she's
said,
in
that's
Japan.
how.
She's in the Olympics now, at
Yeah.
the Olympics.
So, beautiful, beautiful home, Mr. Spitzer. So, a
Thank
big,
you.
big difference from what was there. So going through everything, Mary, did we find anything that didn't,
All right, so we can just go through here. One of the conditions was a sign to go on the causeway.
okay,
There's the sign. Here's a close-up of it.
okay,
So that he had that made. And then one of the, so this is the garage. One of the conditions was that the pad that the generator sits on should have a lip, which did not happen. But if you notice, it's right behind the garage here, and the garage itself is over 100 feet from the lake, I believe, because they ended up putting this up without really going through us because it was over 100 feet.
okay. I would probably, one of two things, either, Mrs. Fitzharris, I would probably either put some gravel around it or have a mason just put a small concrete lip around it. And that is to, in case generators, after a long time, they tend to leak things. The new modern ones they're a bit better, but they still can leak components. So that little lip that we asked for on there is just a guard. But that's, I mean, I don't feel that that's a huge, I mean, if you're over 100 feet, I mean, I don't think that's a huge
Well,
deal, but
It is over 100 feet
yeah.
to the lake.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of vegetation there to kind of grab any contaminants off of it. And I'm sure if you get a leaky generator, you're gonna notice it and you're gonna probably have it fixed right away.
Well, the generator is gas,
Okay,
propane. It's no liquid.
okay. Sometimes the hydraulic fluids that are in there can actually leak. So, but that's not, I mean, that's not a major deal. I don't think it at all. I'm not concerned about that. Anyone else concerned about that?
No.
Okay. All right. And what else, Mary?
All right, so he's got his gutters going into a cul-de-sac. And the order required planting one tree. And I didn't actually count. There's at least, he put in at least 7 or 8. Do you know how many you put in, Angelos?
Well, if I count the arborvitaes, I think I put like 40 trees in.
Right, so the row of arborvitaes plus these other trees, so.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
The arborvitaes are right here. Yeah, so he put in plenty of trees. And then if you recall, there was an old garage that was down the lane that needed some work.
Yeah.
And it looks a lot better now as well.
Okay.
Wasn't it hidden in bramble and everything else? I think it was.
That was the other one.
Oh.
Yeah, the other one was. This one actually had a lot of stuff around it too. I think it's been kind of cleared around, but it needed to breathe.
Yeah.
A lot of debris there, tires, old cement blocks, just a mess there that we cleaned up.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the conditions was a Chapter 91 permit. And also a need, whether there's a need for an as-built. The order does require an as-built. And did Stephen do an as-built for you, Angelos?
No, I'm not sure he's qualified to do an as-built. Are you talking like from a surveyor or, you know, an engineer, like a ground engineer? Because Stephen has, you know, he's a land engineer.
Yeah, Steve
Okay.
should be able to do all those dimensions, Angelos, and plot where all the actual trees went, and this is where the walkway actually went. And it's
Okay.
basically, you know, we'll have what was there, what was planned, and how it actually is now. So that if we ever needed to go back to it, we have exactly what's been built.
Great.
Okay. I'll ask him to do that then.
Yeah, so Steve should be able to do that with no problem, because he's already got the data in his computer. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, so that's the old plans. Anyway,
and so we just need a chapter 91 on the dock.
yes, and he did, you submitted stuff very recently, right? Let me see.
Yeah, so I put the public notice in the Worcester Telegram for this Friday. And I started the process with DP in Boston. And I did send them a check prior to the public notice. So now that I have the date of the public notice, which is this coming Friday, you know, then I will continue the process.
That process will include the next thing, once everything is ready, is to come back before us with the plans for the dock.
Yeah,
Right,
and I
so
think
I
he
did-
gave them to me, and I'm trying to find them.
So,
Yes, I did submit them to you and the planning board and the zoning board and the board of selectmen as per the plan, as per the public notice. So there were 4 copies required.
Okay. So then we should probably keep the COC open until we've agreed on his. So that, because they want to see that there's an open order of conditions attached to the dock.
Yes.
So before we do a COC, we want to make sure that the dock is approved through the state. Then we can close out the order of conditions, because what'll happen is the state will see that you have no open order, whether it's an RDA or an NOI. So what we've been doing, Angelos, is when people file, rather than do 2 separate filings, we're rolling the chapter 91 into the current filing, so that all you have to do is come back before us for your chapter 91. We discuss it with you, we look at the dimensions, everything, we make sure that it meets 91's criteria for navigability and you know, distance from your neighbor and all that jazz. And then we send that off to the state, and then essentially we could close out, we could then do the COC, right, Mary? I mean, I think that makes sense.
I have submitted the plan to Mary, so.
Yeah. I know we have the paper copy, and I'm just trying to see if you had emailed me a copy too.
I have an email. Let's see if I can, you want me, I can email it to you later.
Yeah, well, or yeah, if you have it handy, you could email it now and we could get it up on the screen for the board to review. I think he's nearly on the way. He's already submitted a lot of his stuff to the state. We just need to look at the plans. And then there's the question of the as-built. I think those are the 2 outstanding things.
Then we could do the CSC after the chapter 91 is recorded.
How long does that take? Because I have the, you know, the time limit, the 3-year, since I got the building permit, is March of 2022. So will I be able to get it by then?
Oh yeah, you'll definitely have it well before that, Angelos. There's no worry in that.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. There's mechanisms to be able to extend, even if we had to extend it for like 6 months or a year for you to get that. But the state, because right now is their busy season, they will be processing those things pretty regularly. So
right.
They probably just want to see how the commission votes on it. And then what we'll do is we'll look at your chapter 91. We'll, you know, obviously, you know, we'll have to discuss it in an open hearing like this. And then, because you had to notify the abutters, so we'll have to do a hearing on that. And then what we can do is, once that's all said and done, we can probably close out your, give you a COC on the actual property itself. And then by that time, Steve will have gotten the required as-built to us and everything will be good.
Okay, I can't find it right this second.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I'm sure we can scan it as well. I know Kelly, I know you mailed it to us. 'Cause I
So
saw
do we
it.
want,
I have it. I just found it, Mary. One second, sorry.
well, we weren't
come on.
anticipating on talking about the 91 permit tonight. So do we want to put this on the next agenda? Or,
Well, I had told him it could be part of his COC request to bring that
Okay.
information.
all right, then why don't we, then let's take a look at it and see, and if there's any modifications, we'll put them on the next agenda and discuss it.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect it here. One second. For an IT guy, I'm having issues.
We could just do it the next time.
You don't want to see that, Angelos. It's embarrassing.
I know, unbelievable.
Or maybe we can, while he's working on it, we can do another. Go through
I'll do
it.
another one and then I'll get it to you by
All
then.
right, so why don't we go back to Judy? Did you happen to get in touch with your contractor?
Yeah, I did. He's on the line right now. He's trying to call into you. He
Okay, so,
can't do it by the computer, but he's trying to call.
do we have Ivan here?
Ivan, did you get them? Did you call in yet?
I see someone with iPhone.
Is it an iPhone using? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, some people are muted. If he doesn't know how to unmute.
Can you unmute that? I wonder if I have him on my phone here and you talk, can you, maybe you can hear if he says it next to my phone, you think?
No, the iPhone is Greg.
Okay.
Okay,
No.
thank you for changing your name there.
Ivan, are you through?
Maybe he's this
All
person.
right.
Is that the 617 phone number that I see?
No, that was someone else, I think.
Yeah, he was a 61, he is a 617 number.
Well, this person I called on a little while ago.
His number is 935-3219.
No.
Yeah.
Is it coming through?
I don't see that. Well, there's a, yeah.
Ivan, can you hear them?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you know what? I have him on the speaker on the phone.
Okay.
Ivan, can you say hello? Maybe they can hear you.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Hi, Ivan, how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, so you can hear him.
Okay. Is he
Okay.
still trying to get on?
No, I think he's gonna go right through my phone. If you talk to him, he'll just talk to you.
Okay.
Ivan, you can hear him, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so, Mary, have we received any new?
Yes, I'm gonna pull up the plan here. Did that work? Did my screen share work?
I can see the screen share, yep.
You can? Okay, it's like, looks a little different than usual.
So. All right, so if you can zoom in a little bit, Mary, I'm trying to see this here. Okay.
So it's basically a side view diagram.
Okay. So. What? All right, so Ivan, take us through what this is going to, if you can. It looks like there's going to be a concrete slab on the bottom, and then you're doing an 8-inch block wall filled with what?
It's gonna be filled with concrete. It's gonna be solid concrete. The base, the concrete slab will be 12 inches of slab, and the blocks will be full, 16 by 8 by 8. The blocks will be filled with concrete.
Okay.
Also solid concrete. Also, and the detail is missing rebars that will be added on the slab and under the wall.
Okay. So how high up are you going with this wall?
It's gonna be 48 inches. Oh, I mean 24 inches. I'm sorry.
Okay.
24 inches plus 2 inches of granite that will be on top of it.
Okay. So the underneath is getting done, is getting redone, and then you're putting the slab of granite on top.
Yes.
Okay.
It also doesn't show in the detail, but I can
Okay.
send another one with the detail on the granite on top of it.
Okay. Are you going to be digging into the bank on the bottom to lay that concrete slab?
Yes, where the regional on the regional wall, I don't know if I'm gonna have to dig, how much I'm gonna have to dig, or I'm gonna have to form a footer in there. I don't know how deep I'm gonna go. I know my top, it's my ground level from there. It's gonna be 24 inches plus 12.
Okay. And so let me ask you this. Whoa, are you Mary?
No, that wasn't me.
Okay. All right. So we're digging down, we're putting in the slab of concrete. We saw the side view there. The granite is gonna go on top.
Yes.
And do we have a photograph of this, Mary, again, a photograph of this shoreline?
I have two pictures there. I think, yeah, there we go.
Okay. So now, all right. So are you coming up just a little bit from what's already here? In the photograph?
Yeah,
I don't know if you can see.
I have to shoot the elevation on the ground. I don't want the wall to be too low, and also I don't want the wall to be too high.
Yeah.
So it will be level with the. It's gonna be ground level. It's gonna be level with the ground.
Okay.
I'm not interested to go any higher than the ground. The grass level.
Well, I mean, Judy has mentioned before that she had an issue with stormwater runoff from the roadway, so you really would not want to go too high, but water should be captured at the edge of the retainer wall, and some gravel or something should be put behind the wall in order for the water that's coming down to just percolate.
Yeah, if you look on the picture on the drawing,
yeah,
the ground level is a little lower than the wall. Just
yeah,
that
should be 3 to 6 inches. Yep.
Yeah, 3 to 6 inches to capture water, and you see behind this 12 inches of gravel, see the blue pebbles.
Yes.
That's 3/4, so we can capture the water and goes to the drain.
Okay. All right. So, the next question is, Mary, if you can go back to the photographs. Do we have a picture of where the dock is in relation to the neighboring, just these two, huh?
Yeah, these are the ones that I have. I think Judy had shared a picture last time, maybe.
Okay.
I can do an aerial though. You want to look at the aerial photo?
Yeah, if we can see an aerial,
To the neighbor's dock
well, your dock to the neighbor's property.
is about 15, 20 feet.
On one side or on both sides?
I'm sorry, I want to tell you it's 12 feet.
Okay.
All right, there's a 10-foot easement between her and I. There's a 10-foot and then my 2 feet on my side.
Okay, just 1 second.
No, that one. Can't really see the dock in this one, I guess. And the lot lines don't always line up very well.
Yeah. The reason that I'm asking, Judy, is because your dock needs to be, in your case, because you don't have the frontage to the lake, your dock is going to have to move somewhat to the right in this photograph.
Okay, that's not a problem.
In order to meet what I was explaining earlier, the Chapter 91 requirements that are required by the state. So we can, we can work with that. But if you're looking to have the dock aligned and a special, having the wall kind of open up so that you've got a step or two down to the dock, that would make a big difference. That's why I'm bringing that up. But your dock probably should move slightly more to the right. And then in regards to the wall itself, given the explanation from Ivan and what's being done, you're going to have to file the Chapter 91 permit to do work in the shoreline and be doing digging there.
Yeah, but I pulled that law on that, and we're not in the water. We're not. I have it. In fact, I have it here, and it says that we don't require authorization because we're putting a wall up that's not in the water, and it's not holding back any bank. And I took this right from the state.
This is right from the bank. This is right at the bank.
No, this is Chapter 91.
This is right at the bank, and under geographical jurisdiction, Great Ponds, any project located in, on, over, or under the water of a great pond. A great pond is defined as any pond or lake that contains 10 or more acres in its natural state. Ponds or lakes presently larger than 10 acres are presumed to be great ponds unless the applicant provides unequivocal evidence to the contrary.
You're talking about the dock permit.
I'm talking about the permit to do the work in the shoreline.
Well,
he's talking about the work on the wall. That's a separate Chapter 91 from the dock.
Judy, you're not. I know it seems like you're doing a repair, but you're not. You're actually doing a replacement. And all that
Ivan, is this a repair or replacement?
All of that digging there, you're basically doing it.
It's not a repair, it's a replacement. Could you explain that to him then?
I'm sorry?
Ivan. Yes. Could you just tell him what we're doing? It's a repair, not a replacement, but you can explain it better than I can.
I think as the way I have to do it it's gonna be more of a replacement than a repair. Because they're gonna have to remove, hold on 1 second.
The space available do not require chapter 91 authorization in accordance with 310 CMR. Okay,
I'm
even though
looking-
I have to file with you though.
Judy, I work with the regs every day of my life. That's my
Okay.
job. And I would not send someone down a road that they necessarily wouldn't need to go down because this stuff is hard enough.
Okay, so what do I,
So what you need to do is that diagram with these photographs, and we need to help you get your wall permitted. So you need a permit for the wall and you need a license for your dock. They're two separate things. So because you've got digging activity right here, like see where this water is now. I mean, yeah, someone can say that I never have water there, but this is the future. Water is it's creeping. And so where you're actually proposing to dig right now, you're digging in the water. And you can't do that without the proper permit. So what we want to do, and you know, what we were trying to explain to you last time was trying to get a holistic view and idea of what's going to take place with your project. And Ivan was very good with explaining this to us, how he's going to do it. And that pouring of a foundation in there, when you set a new footing for a wall, that's actually tripping the 91 permit. Because you're digging in the shoreline, you're in the bank. And you're actually under the regs, you're not supposed to disturb more than, I believe, 10% of bank without certain surveys and all that. So, you know, we're looking to send you down the right road so that you're compliant. If you were repairing this wall, tucking those rocks up underneath and just maybe a little bit of cement somewhere, that's a repair. What you're doing is a full-blown replacement. That's a 91 permit. So in my opinion, and professionally and as a volunteer on this volunteer board, you know, just like everyone else, I have to tell you, this is what is required and what's needed from the commission and required by the state.
all right, I will call the state and see what that is. Okay, go ahead, Ivan.
So do we need, how long do you think it would take us to get the permit?
That, I mean, if we can, you know, if you get all the dimensions, they're going to want to know how long this is, how wide it's going to be, that cross section that you showed. If you can get all of that documentation together, those pictures of your shoreline that Mary has, and they're going to want measurements. Then what you do is you go to the state and I think it's in the 91 portal for chapter 91 for a retainer wall.
Yeah, I can provide the drawings for the permit. I know how.
I mean, we'll need those as well because we'll need to know, because we're the state's eyes on the local level. So we need all of that in order to say, okay, this project is meeting the performance standards set forth by the state under 91. Okay, here's the permit and here are the general conditions and here we go. It's all set. But, you know, I mean, you can talk to, I would talk to the folks that are in the 91 department. The Mass DEP Central is not, they're not as fluent in the 91 laws. But if you were to let them know what you're proposing at the shoreline, I mean, they're gonna say that you're gonna need a 91 permit. You know, I mean, I can talk to some of my colleagues and see what their thoughts are, but from my point of view, and what I do day in, day out, you're gonna need a 91 for this.
Okay, do we need to go, I always call, but I don't know if the shoreline, dig safe?
You shouldn't for that, but my question to you is, you're gonna need a turbidity curtain. That's gonna definitely need to be, that will be in the order of conditions, but are you planning on doing a cofferdam to dam off any water that may potentially get towards it?
Yeah.
Okay, so a cofferdam and turbidity curtain, definitely. Are you gonna have machinery on site?
Yes.
All right, are you using a large excavator or small excavator?
It's small one. Probably probably we've been doing by hand because the way sometimes with the excavator, and I need to see the material, but we're gonna have a small excavator there.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like getting, you know, having a small fender bender and you won't know what you got underneath there until you take the top layer off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can dig down into these conditions after we have gotten, you know, gotten Judy through the permitting process for the project. So, you know, Mary, if we can provide some sort of help, Judy, if you want to take a look at it yourself, and but it's going to ask several questions that I need to answer. Have to have all of his sketches and documents and all that stuff to submit to the state.
Yeah, so I can look at that too.
Mr. Chairman, don't we also need floodplain on this?
I looked at the map earlier and there should be, I mean, we should have a map that shows contour lines.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
think this project needs a lot more than that. We're going to bring equipment in, it needs spill kit, it needs stockpile area, it needs a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Project plan, property that are not available to us right now.
Yeah. Ivan, as I've mentioned with other builders, a sequence of events on how you're going to do it. And that's best to show us how it's going to be done. You know, you did mention, you know, equipment, and like Dan said, all that other stuff. That's a lot of that stuff is standard, and we can cover the Mary can cover that with you. Yeah, see,
They do have this, I mean, like the contour lines are on this old plan. This is an old plan. It doesn't have everything, but it does have a few things.
Well, the concern is here is I'm seeing an elevation of 478.5 and the average height, mean high water up that high, Judy, and other years you don't. It just goes on how wet the season is, but what we're talking about is flood storage capacity that everyone has on their property. And you being a low-lying property, that flood storage capacity we need to account for. So, and that would be something that the Chapter 91 folks will help out with. so that this is permitted correctly. And I'm looking at, Mary, can I share my screen for a second?
Sure.
Hello?
Yeah, just hold on one second, Judy. So here's 88. And if you remember where it said 470 is of flood storage capacity for there.
Joey, can you turn the flood off so we can see the property, see how the land goes? I see. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so this border here shows like it's just a general drawing done by GIS, and it shows you know, that you've got a lake or a pond resource here. And then under the FEMA maps change often. You just walk in the bar for replication there. So I don't know. We can.
It wouldn't, if it's an exact rebuild, then it wouldn't. It's you're replacing in kind.
Yeah, I mean, that's where they might give a waiver, but it still needs to be looked at by the waterways folks, which is 91.
So can you summarize what the board wants on a, are you good? Is the board requesting engineered plans with contours, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I mean, we typically do with others. I mean, we're gonna need to see the current grade and what the finished grade is gonna be. Ivan, can you hear me?
Ivan, can you hear him? Hello? Ivan? Hello? Oh, hold on, I lost him.
All right, so Dan, what you were talking about was like the current and finished grades. That's a standard with any project that we do. We need to see what the finished grade is going to be.
Hello?
Ivan?
Hold on, I'm trying to get him.
Okay. Well, Mary, while she's trying to get Ivan, why don't you take down, I mean, I know you've been jotting stuff down. You know, I think that
please leave your message for
I think he's off the line.
yeah, his phone may have died, unfortunately. So we're gonna need a plan that, you know.
Yeah, you're there again? Yeah. Okay, hold on. All right, he's back.
Okay. So Ivan, we're gonna need an engineered plan that, can he hear us?
Yep.
All right, engineered plan that shows current grade and what the finished grade is gonna be. A plan that's gonna show exactly where the wall is gonna go. We're gonna need to know the dimensions, how wide, what's going to be. I know we have that cross section, but we're gonna need to know how wide it's gonna be. I think you said 24 inches tall. On that plan, we need to know where we require spill kits, which are, you know, a little 25-gallon spill kit. While machinery is on the property. If there is any kind of stockpiling, we need to know where the stockpile is going to be.
Erosion controls.
Erosion controls, which are going to be your turbidity curtain. And you said you were going to use a coffer dam, which I think is a smart idea, so that'll keep the water out for several days while you're working on it. Erosion controls also.
That was already done.
With this kind of earth moving, I would probably put a straw wattle and a silt fence, probably about 10, maybe 10 feet or 12 feet back across the property until it's all, everything is set and it's, you know, the grade has come back and you've got grass on it to grow back so that it's stabilized. Folks, anything else? And then I think it's good to write down like phase 1 is going to be this, phase 2 is going to be this, phase 3 is going to be this. Just to give us a clear idea what your methodology is going to be, and then the state will know exactly what you're doing. And you'll be all set. But I would advise you and Judy both to take a look at the chapter 91 and looking at Great Ponds. All right. And then any questions, please contact our office. Mary's very helpful. Kelly's very helpful. And so with that said, we're gonna have to continue this until the next meeting, Judy.
Fine.
Which is the 16th. And then by then we'll have the chapter 91 all situated and you know, hopefully we'll have some plans from Ivan or you know, if you choose to you know, projects like this, it's sometimes best to I mean, it's up to you, but to go to an engineer. I know in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge project, but when it comes to protection, there's a lot going on right there. And we just got to make sure that everything is protected. All right. Okay, Ivan, if there are any questions, please contact Mary. And we can get you going down the right road, okay?
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
All right, anything else, commissioners? Judy?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, can I get a motion for continuance of 88 Lakeside to August 16th?
I motion we continue 88 Lakeside to August 16th.
Second.
All right, Robin and Clarissa. Judy, Ivan, thank you very much. Thank you for the patience. And we'll help. We're here for you and we can answer questions and get you through the process, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right. All right, thank you. All right, go ahead, Mary.
All right, Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Bach.
Yes.
All right. So, folks, returning back to Mr. Spitzeris's 18 Bates Point Crossing, did we find the Chapter 91 doc?
I emailed that to Mary.
Okay.
All right, let me see if I can share my screen again here. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to see if I can zoom.
So the distance to the right is over 25 feet or 25 feet. And then the length of the dock is shown there is 80 feet. I only have 60 installed, but that's fine. 80 is what I want to do eventually.
8 by 10, Michelle, on that there.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, I didn't know if you saw it.
Yep.
And that's the engineering drawing of the dock. Also, the abutters are there on the bottom left.
Okay.
And then Steve is also showing the distance to the nearest land.
Okay.
So I'm well along the process with the chapter 91. The plan that I submitted originally as part of the order of conditions did not include a dock, but now this is the revised plan that does have a dock.
Okay.
And you know, I'm continuing the process in Boston with this.
Okay.
The DEP.
All right. So, now, do we have, out of curiosity, do we have, Mary, an ortho of where the neighbor's dock is? I know he's 25 feet away, but it seems to angle a bit.
Let's see, not showing the dock. Let me see if they're. He didn't have, it doesn't look like he had the dock out, but here's the neighbor's dock.
All right, the neighbor's dock is centered, which is good. All right, so 25 feet setback, under the threshold of 600 square feet. We saw the cross section. We see the all the other components. Do we have any concerns on this dock, Commissioners?
What's the depth of the water there?
4.5 feet.
What is it? I'm sorry.
4.5 feet.
48
4
inches.
feet 9 inches.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. 48 inches, Michelle.
Yep.
Okay.
And the connection to land, it just lands kind of on a wall or something. That's what it looks like.
Cinder block, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't think the shoreline is natural.
That was pre-existing. Whatever was there was pre-existing. I didn't do any of that.
Okay.
And then the dock was there, just replaced the seasonal dock with a newer one.
Yeah. I remember walking over that way. I can remember seeing there was blocks or there was granite. Yeah, there was something there that was there before.
And there's no boat lift.
I'm sorry?
No boat lift?
No, no boat lift.
Okay. All right, Commissioners, what do we think?
And the jet ski is connected to the dock. It looks like it in this picture, and not to the land.
It's a separate lift adjacent to it.
Separate lift just adjacent to it, but not.
Yeah, it looks like there's like one dock section. But
so what I'm sort of asking is, does it touch the land? Because you're supposed to have, you know, like a 4-foot wide
No,
dock.
it doesn't touch the land.
Okay, so it just comes off the side of your dock.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, there's always a lot of questions when you first look at one of these. And since we're doing it on the fly, it gets a little tricky.
I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is good for anyone that is on the call that will be filing a Chapter 91. These plans are done by a local engineering firm. These are all the different dimensions and segments that the state requires under 91 that you have to provide them with. So this is actually a good example for anyone to see. So, all right, so do we have a motion for moving the chapter 91 along?
I'm not quite sure what the motion would be, but the docket's okay. with me.
Approval from the commission for the chapter 91 permit.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I second.
Michelle and Robin?
Ms. Cirillo?
Yeah.
Dr. Jewel?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson? Oh, Ms. Johnson left. Mr. Duto?
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so that means that your chapter 91 has been approved by the commission so that the state will see that. Mr. Spitzeris and the planning board and zoning will see that it meets, this has met our requirement and the state's requirement. And there's been no issues, so that's a positive thing for you. So now.
Great, thank you.
So now can we get a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 18 Bates Crossing?
I thought we were waiting on the as-built.
We can wait on the as-built if you want.
Well, I guess my feeling is, how do we know it was built as planned? We don't see an as-built.
Okay, we can wait on that. Discussion from other commissioners?
Agree with Michelle.
Okay. Any other commissioners? All right, then, I would agree too. It's probably good to cross-check it, so.
So showing the location of the trees, the Coltech and the house.
Yeah, those are the important things that we really want to look at. Mr. Spitzeris, we're gonna have to, we've obviously approved chapter 91, so we just need the as-built so that we can compare the two. And if everything is, if something's not, not in sync, we would need an explanation during the discussion at the next hearing, and then we should be able to give you your COC at the next meeting. Is that okay with you?
Yes, very good. I'll
All
talk
right.
to BNC Engineering and I'll get you the plans.
Sounds good. All right, so we'll see you on August 16th.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the day.
You too, bye-bye, thank you.
All right, great. So we don't need a motion to put that forward because that's just a discussion item. Do we have someone for 4 Black Point Road here? Representative for 4 Black Point. All right, moving on, 68 Lakeside Ave. Do we have a representative for 68 Lakeside Ave?
Yes, Gary Shannon, 68 Lakeside Ave.
Hi, Gary, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
You have to have the headphones on, man.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
I can, yes.
All right, welcome to the meeting. So, you're looking for a COC on construction that you had done at your home. So do we have photographs, Mary?
He's looking up towards the road, riprap on the side. And I did tell him he can pull down that silt fence now. Did you get that down yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I know Pam and Patty are probably on here. That's riprap.
Yeah.
That's good riprap. All right.
Whoops. I didn't know that would do with that. And then here's the kind of the edge. He has an existing retaining wall here. He has riprap along the edge. And it is pea stone here, Gary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any creeping of the pea stone at all?
No, it's never, even when it was just dirt and gravel, it never went down.
It looks pretty packed in. Okay.
Ask this applicant to apply for chapter 91.
Yes, I'm sure you've been hearing us talk about it all night. Do you have any questions on the chapter 91 process, sir?
My question is I will not be receiving the certificate of compliance then?
Do we have a certificate of compliance linked in with this one, Mary?
No, not with this one.
Okay,
There is not a chapter 91 link.
okay, all right. Because we, I think you did an RDA process. We didn't have the chapter 91 on this with you, but we have to, by law, let you know that if you have a dock, you have to submit a chapter 91 for your dock to be permitted in the water. And you can go to Mass DEP/chapter 91. And there's all sorts of information there. The permit lasts 15 to 30 years. And you just need to come back to us with, you can do a drawing of your dock if you prefer, or if you want to have an engineer do it up, it's up to you, but you can draw it all out. Make sure you have each dimension of each of the components of it, how deep it goes down, how it's anchored to the land underwater, how it's connecting to the shoreline, and how it lines up with your neighbors, both of your neighbors' setbacks. They're supposed to be, the general requirement is 25 feet, but a lot of properties don't have that width. At least 15 feet back.
15 feet back from what?
From each of your neighbors.
Oh, I own the abutting property on one side.
Okay, so
25.
you can make, I mean, that's a good thing. But you would still need to indicate that that's your property. And I would recommend that you reach out to Mary. Docks that are not permitted and are found in the future. At some point, we're going to have to start enforcing chapter 91. So we're trying to get people, for the last 2 years, we're trying to get people in the permitting process. So if there's questions, we can help you out at the office.
What I'm unclear on is the present project that's on the agenda tonight.
Yep.
Is that being continued or held up pending a 91?
No, because we're gonna move through that business, but the new business with you is we're gonna end up having to make note that you've got a dock that's unpermitted, and we're gonna be looking for you to submit a chapter 91 to us. And then once we approve that, you could submit it off to the state.
Did we get the as-built on this one?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I was asking Mary. Did we get it?
There was not engineered plans for this project, Michelle, so it was a sketch.
Okay, because it's just one of the conditions. That's why I was asking.
Right, I should have pulled that condition for this project.
And you have no concerns, right?
I did not have concerns with the placement of the wall or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we'll make the motion.
It's 50 feet, but it's 50 foot back from the lake. All the work was.
All right. Thank you.
And go ahead, Michelle, what was that?
I'll make the motion to issue a certificate of compliance.
Fine here for you. Well, then let's automatically put that to the next agenda for him.
Yeah.
Glenn, actually, are you on the line?
I think he wanted to be on the line for the Parkway, the next one, Lake Parkway.
Does he? I don't know, he's got a cross in his.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure. It doesn't look like he's on.
Glenn sometimes does 2 meetings, so he might be taken up by another meeting, but
Yeah.
that 508-769, that's Glenn. So, all right, so let's move beyond Glenn's 2 projects there. And I believe we have Carolyn Fritz here for 16 Patterson, a minor modification, enlargement of the cul-de-sac. Do we have Carolyn here?
Hi, how are
Hey.
you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. All right, so you need to enlarge your cul-de-sac.
Yes, and put a perimeter drain around the outside.
Okay. Do we have plans on this, Mary?
Yeah, there's so many plans. I need to find which one it is.
I think it's July 12th, the date on it, Mary.
Okay, well, that's not how Kelly has them labeled, so.
Oh, okay.
Let me look and see if this is it.
I don't think that's it.
Nope. All right.
Well, I think this is just one thing, Carolyn. You gotta stop revising your plan.
Oh my gosh. Well, did you hear the story?
I don't know if I want to.
No, you don't, because I want to cry.
Oh, no, we don't do that here. We don't.
No,
do-
I'm not going to cry, but I wanted to, believe me.
I can imagine.
But I want to just move forward and
Absolutely. So we'll
get-
see what you
get
got
things
here.
taken care of, and
Yeah. Let's see what you got, and we'll move along.
Maybe this is it.
Yep. Yeah,
This
because I
is
can
it?
see the too deep. So
Oh.
to remedy the water situation, we have an interior perimeter drain, but that's just bringing the water to the house. So the engineer is proposing to make the cul-de-sacs larger, put a poly on the corner, and a pit outside with 2 sump pumps. I believe it's 2 to go to the cul-de-sacs.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. All right, so we're swapping out the chambers that were already there. We're just adding on to the chambers that were already planned there.
We're adding.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you getting significant water? I haven't been to the property. Is there a structure there now?
Yes, there is.
So now, so you definitely know the water's coming in from just the groundwater table.
Correct. So
Okay.
what happened was, especially because we got all that rain, for July, the water, the sump pump was keeping up with it. But
Okay.
the issue that we believe, and we're not positive, is that the cul-de-sacs were not put in correctly. They were put too deep. So we want to take them and lift them up and then add to them, put the perimeter drain on the outside so that we're not bringing the water to the inside of the house.
Okay.
We had a float on the sump pump, and we lowered it to stop the hydrostatic pressure on the floor. So he believes that this is going to work. And I hope it will, because unfortunately we're deep.
Commissioners, any questions? So we're raising the cul-de-sacs up, adding chambers, which is always good. In this situation, it's not for really the proper purpose, but and then the perimeter, now where is the perimeter drain? Is that this dark line that I'm seeing sort of backwards L?
It's gonna be all the way around, because I have to take the deck off, them do it. But the engineer feels that the cul-de-sacs were too low.
Okay. Which can be you're in actually kind of a flat area.
Yes.
And right behind you, there's also development going on too. And there's a small cove over there. So I'm not surprised that the water table here is a bit higher.
I'm sandwiched in between the water. It's
Obviously,
two
the
water.
geography is very different around the lake, and it's very sandy soil, but
Yes.
these things can actually go too deep, so. So this is the new engineered plan.
Yes.
And how much additional, do we know this additional storage capacity we're looking to add on? And how high we're looking to raise these?
No, they're not gonna be higher than the ground is now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they're
but
just,
within the ground, you're just putting another on top of it.
right, well, no, the ones that are in the ground, I think they're gonna go side by side.
Yeah.
But I believe that they're too low. The ones that are there right now, he believes are too low, but we're not gonna know till we unearth it.
Okay.
For sure, but he believes that they're too low. So the
Okay.
ones that are there, we're just gonna bring up, but not so that there's a hump or anything like that. The land's gonna stay
Yeah.
the same. And then he's gonna add more to capture that water.
Okay.
Yeah, it says that, Joey, it gives the elevation at the bottom of the chambers on the plans, 482 for this one and 481 for that one.
Okay. All right. As long as an engineer is involved in this and, obviously if that situation doesn't rectify, I would suggest that you partner with us in the building department.
Yes.
And see what another alternative could be here. Because you don't necessarily want to fill up the whole yard with Caltex.
Right, right. He's hoping, we don't know for sure where the Caltex is with the elevation, for sure, for certain. He's writing, I think, where he's gonna put where they should be, but we're not certain that they're there.
Okay.
If this doesn't work, it's gonna cost a lot of money for me to fix the basement. So we're trying to see if this will help it and, remedy it. And I probably won't have any problems once they draw the lake down, but spring comes and then all the water that we got,
That is
It
what's
looks like
forecast.
they have the engineer inspecting each system as it goes in, so that's
Yes.
good.
Okay, so I would, this looks good to me, but I would urge you to just, if you can keep an open line with Mary and let us know
Sure.
what was found and if there's any additional tweaking that the engineer recommends once they reopen this up and figure out.
Sure.
But as far as enlarging these Caltex, I don't necessarily see any issue here. Commissioners, anything?
No.
Capturing the water and getting it recharged is excellent, but when you've got a high water table, that can be a problem. So, and you're not alone, Carolyn, so.
I heard.
Yeah, all right, so, so do we have a motion for approval of this minor modification to enlarge the Caltex? Any discussion, commissioners?
I'll make that motion to approve the minor modification by enlarging the Caltex at 16 Patterson Ave.
Okay.
I'll second.
There's Fred when I needed him.
All right, Cirillo second. All right, Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Bach.
Yes.
All right. All right, Carolyn, good luck with everything. We obviously send our best and
Thank you. I appreciate that.
let us know. Good luck with everything, okay?
Thank you. Hey, let me ask just one question about the
Sure.
91 thing
Yep.
with the dock. So the dock that's at the house right now has been in the water for, I don't know, 40 years? I'm not sure. So do I still need to do something with
You're s-
that?
you still need to do that. What they will do is when you do the filing, you bring it to us, we look at all the dimensions, we look at how far back it is, make sure it meets the standard. Then when you send that, if you can provide proof that that dock has been there before 1984, whether it's a picture, whether it's a satellite, something, whether, you know, you can provide proof that it's pre-1984.
Okay,
Then what they'll do is they will give you, they'll say that your dock is grandfathered, and it will go on your deed and say that you've got a license in perpetuity, unless you decide to change the location of the dock.
okay. So I don't know if that's part of my order of conditions. Is it, Mary? Just so I know what I gotta work on.
Yeah, probably it is.
Yeah, it is.
I can look at it too.
We started with the 91s about 2 years ago.
Oh, so I'm in there.
Yeah, so, chapter 91 is, that's why we're kind of gradually getting people, on board with it. It's actually one of the oldest laws in Massachusetts, and it's unfortunately not very, it's not followed, very well, but we're trying to get people compliant and appreciate it.
Okay, great. All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Carolyn.
Glenn Kravosky here, if you can hear me.
Yeah, Glenn, just 1 second.
I just wanted to make sure you could hear me, only because a moment ago I was talking, I never hung up, and and somebody had muted on your end, and I had to call back.
All right, so hold on 1 second. I'm doing one last call for 4 Black Point Road. Anyone for 4 Black Point Road? All right, we're gonna push that to next meeting. All right, so Glenn, 16 Oakwood Drive. Are you?
I already heard everything you said earlier. I was here and I took the photos. I'll point them out in the photo. There was the 3-inch reveal on the stone wall. Yes, that's there. The question about infiltrate with the downspouts. We took photos of the downspouts in the front going into it, and we'll have affidavit filed by Mr. Amarillo for the next meeting.
Okay.
Stabilized the lawn. I'm almost done. Exotic removed. Silt fence. Mary brought it up today. She saw some at the bottom of the slope. We'll make sure that's out of there. And thank you. We're looking for, and Quinn Engineering with the as-built and the substantial compliance letter. We should have everything together for your next meeting on the 16th. Thank you. I'm done talking.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move 16 Oakwood Drive to Monday, August 16th, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, so 36 Lake Parkway extension for DEP 323-1191, to get commissioners, back up to speed with this. This is, Jay Kunkel's property, looking to put a small house. Glenn, went above and beyond with wetlands, installation, not replication, some cleanup of some junk that was in the headwaters of Freeman Brook. There's going to be a DR on the property in the back. Unfortunately, the timeline didn't sync up, and the moratorium went into effect on digging up Lake Parkway, because Lake Parkway is our new Audubon in town where everyone flies down it, and you can't dig it up. So Glenn was looking to get an extension on this this project ahead of time.
Held up as far as us moving forward because of an appeal that was thrown out by DEP because it was not timely. I argued that to DEP, and also that it was not based on fact. It said that we were filling in wetlands, and we weren't filling in wetlands. The DEP did throw the appeal out, but by that time, just prior to that time, Mr. Peretti said he wouldn't issue the opening, which was just under the sidewalk on our side of the road, not in the middle of the road or on the other side of the road, because of the appeal. But then it was thrown out. But by that time, April came, the road was under construction, and no permit could be had for 5 years. Looking at the emergency COVID law by Mr. Baker from March 10th to June 15th, 10th on the 20th of 2020 to 2021 on June 15th, we would actually only need a 5-year, a total of 2-year extension in order to get the house under construction and possibly built in that extra months that we have. But we did ask for 3 years, and that way, we do not see this as a, you gave a permit of 5-0 on the boat, and normally a permit is good to build, but we can't, due to circumstances beyond our control, we can't build. And so that's kind of very unique, I would think, and I haven't come across it before, where we stopped from building for 5 years, and that's why we asked for that extra time period. And the house isn't really that small. I mean, 1,640 square feet. We've seen them around the lake at 1,000 or 900 or other places. So it's not that small, and there's plenty of room to stage up. There was a question by both Mr. Pazzetti about the staging area. It's generally 3,100 by 30, and so there's plenty of room, 3,000 square feet. And as far as the building inspector had a question about stability, we went and looked at the organic depth, and it's 1.5 to 2 feet deep at the tip of the fill, which is not nothing to deal with compared to if it was 10 or 8 or 7 feet of mud where we're proposing a house. It is underneath the existing fill. Yes, and we were adding the arborvitaes, the compost bin, the infiltration of the drive, and the creation of 1,000+ square feet of wetlands on the property, and obviously staying off of the abutter property. I've written this up, which I'm looking at, but I believe I mentioned all the highlights of why we're here and asking for the extension. Thank you.
All right, so, so we're just looking for basically because of obviously COVID, we're just looking really for a 2-year extension.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Extending all of, obviously, the general contracting notes, all of the conditions, all of that folks would carry obviously on with this.
Yes.
Has there been any, out of curiosity, Glenn, with the water lately, has there been any issue with water? With
Well,
that
the other thing I did write up, because we have several locations in town where sand buildup, we also brought forward that there's 1.5 to 2 feet of sand across the street, which had dumped in there from Lake Parkway over the years. And but our flow on our side of the road, we took out all the trash, and the water can get out. It is a low gradient stream to across the street. So any clogs that are over by the church, if you're sitting on the road facing the church on the left-hand side, those clogs could have caused a backup. Not that I see that backup could have gotten to either the house on the left, which would be to the west, or the house to the east, which was Mr. Wings, or any houses back that short stub road that's more to our east either. So I'm not saying there wasn't backup. We had 12.7 to 15 inches, depending on who you're talking to, of rain and some high events, but I'm sure it's diminished by now. But from our side of the road, we have all the clogs out, so it can drain. There's still work that should be done by DPW, which I brought up in the MEPR comment period, of taking the sand out of the channel across the street, which additional sands went in during construction. They're still evident out there. And if they were removed, the water would flow out of our side of the road, which is north side of the road, as it historically would have without that road sand in there. So I think that's a DPW issue, and that's what I brought up in the MEPR application, MEPR comment period. Excuse me.
All right. Discussion from the commissioners. I'll be honest and frank in my opinion, seeing how there is a COVID, he does have an additional year and a few months with COVID, and he's looking for an additional 2 years to be able to get the house done. I mean, I don't see anything really at all changing.
All right.
I mean, people have been asking for the regs to be changed since 1990. So, I don't see anything that, that would indicate something that would be adverse by giving a 2-year extension. Is there any rebuttal on that?
I agree.
I'm just concerned about the practice of extending permits like this before they
Well,
even start.
this, I would probably, I don't want to use the word argue, but I would explain to someone that this was a circus situation. There was COVID and Lake Parkway was under every project, like we explained time and time again. Every project is very different. And sometimes what is done with one project, it can't be replicated with another. And I do understand the precedent of extending so soon. When, some sort of work should be done already, and then you come back as kind of a, hey, can you please give me a little more time? But, they did have, a kind of unforeseen circumstance that got dropped on my lap. And I'll be honest with you, I think the size here with what Glenn has done with this project, I've said it from the beginning, I've looked at a lot of plans, not just with our town, with other towns, and this is, I don't think you can get any better than this kind of setup here. And there's not much more you can do with the property. So.
The road was cut off for 2 or 3 months, so what was he supposed to do?
Yeah, I would point out that not too many projects can you point to and say there was a roadblock that was introduced by another party that is preventing the project from going forward at the current time.
Which really ultimately was DOT and not wanting to damage that relationship with DOT. And we're thankful for DOT for doing a tremendous job on Lake Parkway, but it was, the applicant and Glenn really, it was at a disadvantage, unfortunately. So, do we want to put this to a vote?
I motion we give the extension for 2 years for 36 Lake Parkway.
All right, so Robin's got a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Fred has second. Mary, do you want
to? Did I do Mr. Bach?
No, you did not. My answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 3 yeses. Does that pass?
How many people are on? How many commissioners are on?
5.
5, so that's 5, 3, 5, 2.
Quorum, yeah, I don't know. So all right.
3 in the affirmative and 2 whether negative. So the 3 would be a majority.
That's a majority of the sitting board at the time of the vote.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, Glenn.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
One thing, can I just ask you to do this, Glenn?
Yes, sir.
I typically ask, but can you have the DEP sign put up sooner rather than later?
We'll have it up within the next 7 days.
On the back of it, can you write the expiration date? So
yes,
that
sir.
For some reason, if someone were to go there and they would inspect, they'd see on the back that there's an expiration date. Because this isn't a normal thing for us. So if the
We'll
board
have that put on this. Yes.
I should be here in 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
So, but in case, someone can see that there was an extension done early.
We'll also record the extension, so it'll be on the deed.
Yeah.
And we'll follow it that way. And we do appreciate it, and we'll write something up on the governor's extension as far as the prolonging of the original permit because it was issued during the COVID and that time period that we have additional.
The
Thank-
other item too, Glenn, is that you gotta make sure that, before anything commences on that project, whether you still
Yes.
have the project or not, they need to meet with Mary. I just don't want that to get missed.
Oh, 100%. We're going to follow the order as required, erosion controls, inspection. It's all part of the order that's already issued.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
All right,
we
Glenn.
thank you for all your, yes?
Thank you.
sir.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you. I know, thank you.
All right, so folks, we had an emergency cert at 3 Cedar Point, removal of a damaged tree limb. We need to ratify the cert. You have photographs of this, Mary? Do we have a representative for 3 Cedar
No,
Point?
he's not on. This
Okay.
is Brian Pelletier,
Oh, okay.
and I can find a photograph. Just give me a minute here. All right, second here. Sorry about this. All right, so this was the
Okay.
Duct tape.
Glue.
Yeah, hey, it may work. You never know.
Is better picture. So
All right, so did we verify that that was the only tree that got cut?
I did not go this property specifically.
I remember at one point, I believe it could have been this property or another property that we saw. He was looking to take down several others, and I just want to make sure that the work that we are ratifying and certifying here is the work that is being done.
I wrote the cert just for one branch, for this tree.
All right.
If you want, I can do a site visit and check what else was done. If there was
I
anything else done.
just want to make sure, we've had some people slide some things in. We just need to know. So we need to ratify this cert. We have a motion here.
I'll make the motion to ratify the e-cert.
Okay,
Second.
all right.
Ms. Cirillo. Yes. Dr. Jewel.
Yes.
Mr. Duto.
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes.
Mr. Bach.
Yes.
All right, my folks, my friends, my colleagues, my commissioners, the public, we're in the 9th inning here. 35 Loveland Road, a public records request regarding a neighboring property. Do we have representatives for 35 Loveland Road?
Yes, Mr. Wigglesworth. My name is Liz Mkhitaryan.
Hi, Liz.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice
Hello,
to meet you.
Commissioner.
Thanks for being on with us this evening.
It's been a very educational experience. I need to work on that 91 apparently.
Yes, we are a hardworking volunteer board.
Yes, sir.
So,
But I'm only on tonight just to introduce myself and to follow up on, it's a pretty extensive public records request so that it wasn't out of the clear blue. I'm a resident at 35 Loveland Road and enjoy my time here, that's for sure.
well, I'm glad to hear that. Knowing that area of town, I hope you are enjoying it. Do you have any specific questions for us? Just listening in and just making the public records request for 33 public?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to take the correct steps by being, totally transparent. And what I'm doing here this evening And I appreciate the work that you all are doing, trying to maintain and protect our environment.
Well, we appreciate it. And if there's ever any feedback, please don't hesitate to contact our office. We've got a terrific agent, Mary. There's Kelly in the office. And then, of course, you've heard and the commissioners here, we all bring something different to the table and we work very well as a team. So
yes, sir. Sure, we'll be speaking soon.
We appreciate it. Yeah, Liz, if there's anything else, please always bring it to the commission, and we do our best to help everyone out. So
thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, commissioners.
All right. All right, so we're on to Mary's agent report.
Yeah, I don't have one tonight.
That's perfectly fine. You've been very busy, and I see a few residents on. Are there any residents that have comments? Any input? I just like to put that out there. I see some folks.
I do, Joey.
Hi, Pam. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Great.
I just want to let you know that tomorrow, supposedly, the Dakota is going to come and put down. They were going to put down biodegradable fabric. I had to remind them that it's non-biodegradable that they're supposed to put down, and they're bringing wash stone. I questioned about riprap a couple times. I haven't gotten the word riprap out of them, so I'm just worried it won't be the right size stone, but it's supposed to happen tomorrow. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Chad, as I mentioned to you the other day, Chad had called me and said that he was having trouble finding really big boulders. So I guess anywhere between 5 and 10 inches. So that chunk stone. I don't know if you were listening at the time, but I said, oh, I see Pam is on. Do you see that's a riprap there? It was on a hillside. But
right.
That's the kind of rock you want for a good riprap.
Yeah, and actually made some calls, and I know that Hilka has that riprap in stock and washed and available, but yeah, I know it, but that doesn't really help me.
And just so the board is updated, Dakota and Chad did not end up getting to work right away. So Pam and Patty ended up taking care of that top hillside themselves. They put fabric down, popped in their junipers and other stuff in there. So that hillside all the way at the top should be, they're starting to get that erosion under control there. So I'm sorry that it wasn't the folks that you intended to do it, but you know, hopefully we can get things moving along with your project, and thank you for keeping us informed on that. So
yeah, and I don't know, Pam, whether you saw Chuck out there today. I know I did send the town engineer out to take a look at it.
Oh, good. Thank you. That's good. So he saw my juniper. I'm kind of sore today because that wasn't the easiest hill to be planting on, just saying.
Once it starts to grow down, it'll look nice.
It'll be beautiful. And I do have some black-eyed Susans and a couple daylilies to add in. I was just tired.
Yeah,
so
just
the color will pop in.
Yeah, occasionally just pop some stuff in and great. Anything else on your project?
Nope, that's, you want to say, can you hear Patty? She's trying to
No,
talk
I
to you.
can't. Can't hear us. There we go.
Number 3 on the order of 5 says to call Mary and have her come when they're doing the riprap.
Okay.
And Chad said that he could finish the whole project before she came, but that's not what the form says, so I don't know what you want to do about that, or if Mary's available tomorrow.
Do you know what time they're supposed to be there tomorrow?
Yeah, they're supposed to be there between 8 and 9, and I'm not sure that's going to happen, but I can always call Mary and tell her they're here.
Okay.
Because they have to.
My next day I'm in is Thursday because
Ah.
today's a long day for me.
Yeah.
So,
What?
I mean, I guess we should have scheduled this earlier, or maybe one of the commissioners is available to get out there. I don't know.
I am in the office tomorrow all day. Tuesdays are my days in the office now. Any other commissioner, are you able to just stop over there?
This is for the riprap at the bottom of the bank.
Six South
Yes.
Point. I wanted them to connect with Mary and say, hey, we're now working at the shoreline and just watch what they're doing. I ideally would like them, I hope they put the wattles in first and then get to the stone at the bottom, but as long as something is being done at that bottom, that is an erosion, I mean, it's bad. So getting something in there to stabilize that is important, but they should have the mulch socks or the filter socks to go in those 3 spots that we asked. So
I can take my kayak over there, and take a peek.
There you go.
If you
Look at
want me to
that.
call you, Michelle, I can.
she's working in stealth mode. She'll have big Jackie O sunglasses on.
Yeah, I walked over there on the ice, right? I can get over there on a kayak.
Absolutely.
All right, Michelle, you know, or Dan, if you happen to, you know, I prefer that people be in pairs, but Michelle, if you're on the water and you see it going on, but I really prefer commissioners for safety to be in pairs.
I won't dock the boat. I'll be very safe.
Okay, tell them you'll be there.
I'll
Well,
be
you can-
there in
you can have
Chad
a
1.
paddle in your hand.
I got a big paddle.
All right, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear. Hopefully they get that done tomorrow before the next heavy rain.
Yeah.
Joey, do you have their contact information?
I will send that over to you.
Or you can just text my cell number to somebody over there. They can just text me and let me know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you, Pam.
All right.
Patty.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Have a
Bye.
good-
Bye, Patty.
All right, have a great night.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
ladies. All right, commissioners, any other business before we adjourn?
I'm good.
All right. One last call from the public. Any comments?
I just had a quick little thing, actually. So Joey and I were talking about the Lake Association filing, which is coming up for next meeting, although we may have to continue if we don't have the peer review done by then. Joey was suggesting we can use his 500-person Zoom account to run the meeting, and just wanted to make sure everybody's good with that. And because we have to publish that announcement very shortly, like Thursday.
I'm just concerned with logistics of how we're gonna handle questions if we have that many people on Zoom.
Everyone will be muted, and we can do one of 2 things. Tell people to raise their hand and we call on them, or they can send all their comments through the chat box. And
I don't want to do the chat function because people were just complaining last time. The chat got really awful.
okay,
That one meeting.
that's true. So why don't we can acquaint people to where the raise hand feature is.
Yeah.
And we can unmute somebody and let them talk. And I will handle this like I handled it the last time. You've got 1 minute to, for everyone, depending upon how many people we have, 1 minute to say what your comment is. We can answer questions, but beyond the 1 minute, that's it, because you get 100 people, that's 100 minutes. That's a lot of, we can ski. There shouldn't be that many questions at this point right now. The plan is to work with Webster Lake Association and not have hard feelings, and to agree on conditions and what we expect, and what their filing consists of, and whatnot. So
Should be getting better. It's definitely gonna be getting better.
Logically, it's gonna.
Go ahead, Michelle.
I just don't know how far we're gonna get next meeting. So if the commissioners have a lot of questions, is the public going to get an opportunity to actually speak?
Yeah,
Or
I
do we-
feel, I guess I feel like if we haven't even had the peer review next weekend meeting, we just have to continue it right away and just, I'd rather have it all in one meeting and, or at least not start it until we have that peer review information so that the public can hear that and everybody can all be on the same page. So.
I would point out that the notice to abutters was written by lawyers for lawyers and really confused everybody I've talked to.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you. But Fred, I want to note that Fred really put a great explanation in the Webster Lake Forum. His articulation's excellent, but it's also simple so people could understand it. So even though the letter itself was pretty, and I got a lot from it, after they read Fred's explanation, there were a lot less questions.
Is the information posted yet?
What information?
Let me check.
Because
filing and
one of the problems with that letter is it tells everybody to contact you versus go online and look at the information themselves.
Yeah.
To contact who?
Mary.
Mary,
Yeah.
contact Mary. Everybody's contacting Mary.
Those documents are online.
Yeah, no, Kelly has not put them up yet. I'll send her an email to remind her to get those up ASAP.
So there's the reason you're getting all those calls, Mary.
I know.
That should not happen in the future on any large filing. The applicant needs to provide the burden of proof. So Webster Lake Association said, you got questions or whatever, contact us, and then we'll bring it to the commission and it's streamlined to us from them.
Yeah, I've been spending a fair bit of time on the phone on this issue.
Yeah, but that wasn't anybody. It's whoever wrote the letter, that's whose fault it was. It wasn't the Lake Association.
No, because I think the generic verbiage that goes on one of those notices is contact the town hall, conservation, like to see a copy of the filing. Well, we have it online, so we should be directing them to where to find it versus having Mary field every single call to look at the paperwork that's already online.
Yeah.
You know, and we do need Kelly to get that up fast. There's a lot that we got to review and a lot we got to think about.
Yes.
And the original order of conditions that Michelle and Dan had sort of brokered with them, does everyone have a copy of them? Karen, you may need a copy.
I just was secretary to the last meeting. I'm stepping down. So I did call the state, as I told you and Mary about 6 weeks ago, and just being a member isn't a conflict of interest. So I could get all that information now. In addition, I'm very, very, very hopeful that the relationship is going to change.
Well, that's always been my goal, but it's been
It's gonna happen.
It's been a bit of a challenge. So
you know what? Everybody's got egos, everybody's got everything. To me, it's two sides to every story, but I know on that side, there's a good chance things will be changing.
Well, you know me, I don't hold on to grudges for too long. So, and I don't have a grudge. I just want people to follow the law and not think they're above it.
Absolutely.
Is it a limited project filing? Do we know if it's been filed as a limited project?
That's what I had recommended.
I know, so did we, but I didn't know how it was filed.
To answer your question, Joey, about proposed order of conditions items, I don't know until I look. I might have that. If I do, I'll send it around.
Yeah, if you could, just to kind of refresh us what the discussions were and what you kind of came up with as preliminary.
Well, I also think a link to that article on limited projects related to aquatics management would be helpful. So I'll see if I have that link.
In case folks are not familiar with limited projects tend to be linear projects that often are ongoing. Like limited projects tend to be work in transmission corridors. You're always gonna have like having to replacement and having to do stuff. Roadways tend to be, although they are exempt, sometimes a certain filing might come through as a limited project. So when you've got something that's almost the same thing, but it's ongoing, you can actually stretch that out to a 5-year rather than a 3-year and give good conditions on it. And that gives 5 years for them to do. I know some of these studies that do are 5 years. That's why I recommended to Jason, you know, a 5-year limit will probably be good for you. And I was told that by him that we wanted to weigh his options. So, you know, I mean, we're just looking to help out, and but we shall see what happens. So
Don't worry.
being positive.
Okay.
So, with that said, if someone's got those conditions, either Michelle, Dan, or Mary, if you find them, I probably have them filed somewhere. I don't know if they're on my old account or my current email account, but that'd be good if we all had them. And with that, if there's nothing else, I'd like to bid everyone a happy evening.
Me too.
Or a Merry Christmas in July.
Yes, Christmas in July.
All right, take care.
Saturday.
So at 8:39, can I get a motion of dismissal?
Motion of dismissal.
Motion of parole for all board.
Motion of adjournment.
All right, good night.
Michelle,
Say unanimous?
Unanimous, yeah. No, I want to stay on another 2 hours.
No. I got a long day tomorrow.
Michelle, if you're actually going to go over the South Shore tomorrow, if you'd like company, I'll watch you paddle into shore. Just let me know what time you're going to be over there.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm gonna be there.
That makes me feel better, Dan. I appreciate that. And obviously you don't need to be there right at 8:30 or what have you. You know, I'm sure if you stopped in there at 10, they'll probably be doing something.
If it's not the right stuff, you want to catch them so they don't have to slip it up the hill again.
Yes. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you very much.
All right. Good night.
All right, bye-bye.